Hello, hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. Welcome to Media Queen TV. We have a fantastic guest today. I'm so excited to be interviewing this phenomenal lady. You may or may not know her. She is known as the signature style strategist, and for at least 30 years now, she has been working, collaborating, supporting, and empowering some of the most established and well-known leaders in their field of coaching, in TV and entrepreneurship to amplify their visibility, confidence, and impact so they can be seen, heard, and make a difference. And it all started when she was just 5 years of age and she made her own doll dresses. Please welcome here, Kristina Savka. Welcome to Media Queen TV.
Hello there, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you, Kristina. So excited to chat with you today. You are always looking so glamorous and amazing, and I know your personal story is phenomenal, so can't wait to share that with people today. So doll dresses, making your own doll dresses at age 5. So can you explain a bit about your upbringing and what was it that attracted you to dolls as a child?
Oh my goodness. Well, my mother was quite a sought after seamstress in back in Croatia. And I just saw the power and the impact that these clothes had on her clientele. I recently shared this amazing story live just this week, saying how I would watch them come in, do their pleasantries, their greetings, as we Europeans do, and they would then share their woes, and then they try on their garments. And all of a sudden, in that split moment, they'd put these garments on, and they were just transformed. All the woes had gone, and they're like, "I look amazing. I feel amazing." And it's like, can fashion really do that? And so I was listening and watching and learnt from a very young age the power of dressing well and showing up.
Yeah, it's amazing how much better you feel when you actually do dress up and when you put a bit of makeup on, and it's amazing how it can really boost your confidence as a woman, I think. And without going overboard. Right now, some women do go incredibly overboard with their makeup, and I can't wait to hear your tips today as to what people should and shouldn't be doing with their makeup depending on types of people they are. So do you want to maybe just share a few tips on that now, on what not to do and what to do with makeup at different ages and stages of life?
Well, now that I'm into my fifth decade, 51 actually, the most interesting thing is that women think that they become invisible as they get older. And I say, no, this is the time to really start to show up. But it does take some skill. It really does take learning those tips and tricks, how to use makeup and your hair color, design, all of those things very cleverly so that you still have that youthful essence. Because this is amazing. You actually have so much knowledge and skill that you have, worked on your whole entire life. So why would you become invisible? Now is the time to become amplified. And that's what I'm all about today, amplifying the woman over 40 to be seen and heard. That's my big mission in life.
Yeah, I love that. So you did say to me, we're chatting earlier, you said, now don't wear black eyeliner if you're over a certain age, right? Now, I'm sure a lot of women don't think about this. So what are some tips you can give people on maybe, colors or how to do makeup?
Well, the interesting thing is when you wear black, it's so harsh. It is so harsh. As we get older, we want to soften those features, but still remain visible. And I always say, highlight your lips, highlight your cheeks, but downplay those eyes just a little bit. So if you used your black eyeliner like in the 80s, like myself, now is not the time to use it. You want to be able to use like your soft browns and your slate grays. You are only enhancing the masterpiece, because that's what you are. You're a masterpiece. And you're just enhancing the things God gave you. And we do not want to make them, stand out in such a way that they draw attention to I call them battle lines, doing life, all the scars and just doing life. You don't want to draw attention to that. What you want is to have that softness where when you smile, those lines are simply an expression of, I laughed for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and I lived and enjoyed. So we want to take it really easy when we wear black. And I always say to my clients, when you're wearing black, just don't make it near the face. we lose color. We actually drain color from our face, and we need to reflect that back. So when we wear black so close to our face, it actually highlights all of those things of living, aging, pigmentation, sunshine, all of the things that have happened to us that we've exposed ourselves with. All of those things goes against us when we wear black, because black has the ability to camouflage, which is fine from the neck down, but then it brings the eye up to the face and it highlights all the things you don't want. So I say use color. Use color. It actually makes you feel good. And the brighter the color, the happier you're going to feel as well. I'm wearing yellow today, and yellow just makes me really happy. So that's my color today.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. I'm in a peachy kind of color today. And it is interesting, when you get your colors done, then they say, if you're a winter person or autumn or summer or, it's interesting when you put certain colors to your face, how it just changes things so dramatically. And, I always say if you're going to be on TV or doing a video of any sort, that you have a plain color, not a patterned top in any way, because if you look at TV presenters, for example, they all have plain coloured tops normally, which really makes you pop on screen as well, whereas black always looks really dull, and white can often look dull too, I think. So colours used effectively, I think, are a really great idea. So for those who may not know their colours, what do you suggest they look out for as they're putting different outfits on? And, what are some tips you can give people around how to find their signature style?
Well, it's really interesting. I've always had a little bit of a, what do you call it? It's kind of like I don't always agree with image stylists. And I'm sorry if you are one, but as a designer, I've been a designer for a very long time. And I like to keep things really, really simple. This is what I say to my clients. When you go shopping, you have the whole array and palette of colors. Now, color has an amazing way to work on our psychology. When I pop a color in front of my facial expression in the mirror will either, the corners of my mouth will either go up or down. So naturally, I'll be drawn to things. Use that internal intuition to draw you naturally to the colors that your body and your mind wants to wear. So when they say, oh, you can't wear yellow because you're not a yellow person, I say, hang on a second. There are so many different types of yellows. There's cool and there's warm. There is a whole array of colors in between. So we can wear yellow. We've just got to pick the right shade, whether it be warm or cool. Now, a great way to check whether you're warm or cool is I like to use either a gold, like a foil, and I pop it next to my face, or a piece of tin foil, and see which one actually makes me shine. So, and you can also use your gold or silver jewelry as well. I just like to keep things really, really simple, because you know what? When you empower a woman to be able to figure these things out and dress herself, she starts to own everything. She starts to own and command attention in a whole different way. Now, experts like myself, we come along and we tweak those things. But the starting point, a woman should be just given these tools so she can just start to feel good. And once she feels good, she wants to go to the next level. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously, being healthy as well, eating the right kinds of food and looking after your body, obviously that will really help. This morning I was walking on the beach and I saw this quite large lady. She had, her belly was kind of hanging down almost down to her knees, and she was jogging along the beach. And I thought, good on her, good on her. She's out here. She's a massive woman. She's having a go. So it doesn't matter what size you are, you can always transform your body, right? And I thought, if she just keeps doing that run along the beach, even if she just sort of jogs it a little bit, obviously in line with, with eating, healthy as well. I think you need a balance. If she just keeps going with that, she will eventually take the layers off, because, when we put on weight, it happens in layers, as I say, and so it needs to come off in layers. And that is a, moment by moment, day by day choice in things like, not eating late at night. And, some people do intermittent fasting, etc. Now, you look fabulous, Kristina. I must say, at 51, you look amazing. So you must have some amazing health tips for us as well. How do you stay looking so fabulous? And what are some of your health tips?
Well, those that know me, those that know me well will know that I have been a spa queen probably as young as the age of 17 when I first got that paycheck. And I thought, what makeup and what skincare will I was like really into all this stuff because, it really, really matched the whole idea of if I'm going to wear something lovely, I need to feel lovely and look lovely. So I've always been a big believer that it's not just about putting on that beautiful dress, it's about the whole package. What's the hairstyle that's going to match that dress? What about the makeup? Now, you don't always need to wear a bright lip. You might want to wear a pale lip. It depends on the mood and what you want to create. And why I fell in love with fashion and the silver screen and all that Hollywood stuff when I was a kid was that every time I would put something on, it would transform me to whatever genre I wanted. And I would make my hairstyle match that outfit. And I became that character for the day. And I just realized the power of, just being able to create and do whatever I wanted to do and have fun with it. But there is another story, and is that when I realized the power of what fashion can do, because of my traumatic childhood, I actually started to use it in a negative way to hide who I was in a very, very clever way. So no one got to see the inside, but they were really intrigued by the outside. And I became so good at it, in fact, that I could, hone this skill so well over the decades and to be able to create what I have today. But now I'm all about coming out and really talking about what it's taken to actually come out of hiding, and to become more authentic and to bring those secrets of what's inside me, bring that to the forefront, share it with women. Because, when I was working in the fashion industry a long time ago, it was a different world back then. People didn't share stuff. If you wanted to know anything, it was under cloak and dagger. You literally had to learn things. And it was a really harsh, cruel industry. And I remember putting my hand up going, can I please have some help with drafting this pattern or draping this fabric? No, figure it out yourself. It was a really harsh world. Whereas you look at us today, we're sharing value, we're creating impact, we're putting ourselves out there. What a different world, in just a few short
Yes.
decades. We are living in an age where, it's okay to share and it's okay to uplift and empower others. And that's why I've become more visible as the time has gone on. Now, back to those health tips. A very
Yes.
simple acronym that I love to share, it's called New Start. NEWSTART. And this is what it stands for. Really simple. There's a whole science and a strategy behind it. You can go really, really deep. But to keep it simple for today, the first one is nutrition. That's your N. What am I eating? Is it going to heal me or harm me? So every time I open that fridge, I talk to my brain, and this is what I say. Is this good or is this bad? Am I going to feel energetic or am I going to feel sluggish? So there's your
Ah,
nutrition. The next one is exercise. Now, you cannot have a gorgeous fit body well and truly decade after decade unless you invest in some form of training. Now, it doesn't have to be the gym. It could be choose something that you love. I mean, for goodness sake, there is so much you can do. So for me personally, I love the rebounder. It is so good. It's a tiny little trampoline. I can jump
yes.
on it. And, just 10 minutes in the morning, all my organs, they just get lifted and it feels like they're aerated in there and they start pumping blood. And, it's a great way to feel alive. And of course, there is, a bit of jogging, a bit of, skipping, whatever it is, wherever you're at in your life, do something. And what I say is, if you feel that this is not for me or I can't do this, think again, because if you want longevity, you're going to have to incorporate some form of exercise into your life. Now, here's the really cool thing. Even if you just did 10 minutes a day, the body simply records it and it gets stronger. The next week or the next month, it may actually naturally want you to do 20 minutes. Why? Because it can handle it. And so each week, each month, as you keep evolving, you will gradually build to that 30 minutes, the hour, whatever it is, if you're not up to that stage. And so take it easy, but definitely incorporate it. And W is for water. We are so dehydrated. If you work in air conditioning, you are doing yourself the biggest disservice. Why? Because you are sucking the life energy and force out of your skin and it's going to become shriveled. Do not lie to yourself. You need to drink a lot of water, especially if you are in air conditioning. But then again, we're also exposed to the external elements out there, and they are quite harsh. So we need to hydrate, and not just for the external appearance of our faces, but also that it's like I tell my own children, it's like it's like the inside is like a washing machine. I'm pouring in the water, giving it all a bit of a swish around, and it becomes clean. So it's pretty cool, right? What's next? So the next
Yes.
one is
Yes,
the
and
air.
just
That's
before we go to the
sunshine.
next one, on that point, I heard that for every 22 kilos of body weight that we should be having a litre of water every single day. So even when you think you're drinking a lot of water, drink even more, because, just work out your body weight. Most people are dehydrated, and if you're getting headaches, it's because often you are not drinking enough water. That most headaches are caused from lack of water. And it's like if you think about a grape versus a sultana.
Yeah.
A sultana is like a grape with not enough water, right? It's dehydrated. And that's what happens to our brains when we don't have enough water. So, yes, good
Absolutely.
point.
Absolutely. I mean, everything in balance. You don't want to drink too much. Like if you're taking supplementation for your system, you don't want to be diluting that. So I
Mm,
always say keep it simple, keep it balanced. You know, minimum
yes,
drink 8 glasses. If you're exercising, drink more. If it's a hot day and you're sweating, replenish that and replace it. Know your activity and just gauge it with that. It's so important.
mm,
So literally become your own regulator, and don't just
yes,
stick to a routine. Oh, I must do my 8 glasses. Focus on, be in the present, be here right now. What am I doing? What's the weather doing? What is the season? And literally treat your body like a precious machine that it is. You are a divine design. And
yes.
everything that you do literally sets you apart for the next decade. And then when you arrive at that decade, sets you apart for the next decade. There is no shortcuts. So what I did when I was in my 20s has seen me to where I am today. Now, for those that become discouraged, going, oh, I don't have 20, 30 years, to look like that, I always say you can start now. Because if you start
Mm,
now, you are still going to be better off than the person that didn't start when you hit your 70s and your 80s, when you really, really, really need that longevity. Because I can tell you, quality is better than anything. If you have quality of life, it's worth living. If you don't have quality, it's just a drag. It's a drag to your deathbed. Now, why would you? That's just crazy, right? So while
yes.
you can and you have energy, implement those amazing, precious steps to be able to keep that body lasting. So, sunshine is really amazing, right? So when it comes to sunshine, I love this thing. It's called sun gazing. Early in the morning, I close my
Yes.
eyes. I put my face to the sun for literally 10 minutes, and I will do sun gazing. Now it has to be well and truly before 8 a.m. because we don't want to burn. It's literally this delivery system of vitamin D straight in onto my body. You can still expose your arms and so forth, between 9 and 10:30, 11. But as far as the sun gazing, it's also a great way to meditate and to really, to have that quiet, peaceful moment right in the first start of the day. It's an incredible experience. So sunshine, vitamin D. Now we know that we've become so deficient in vitamin D. Why? We have become a little bit too slap happy with that the old ad that we had, the slip slop slap. Now that was great back then, but times have changed and we've really taken it a little bit too far, where every time we go out we put on way too much sunscreen and there's not enough vitamin D coming onto the skin. So I say be a
Mm,
little bit, savvy, get a bit of vitamin D, protect your skin. Once again, it's a balance. It is truly a balance.
yes. Yes, and
Yeah.
sunscreen, a lot of them are very toxic actually. So you could actually put oils like coconut oil. It's actually got a natural 15 SPF plus. So certain oils are really good for your skin. So there's a whole lot of misinformation out there around this. And do your own research. But
Yeah.
a lot of people are just baking poison onto their body. So look into
Yeah.
the ingredients in a lot of products.
Now the next one probably won't appeal to probably most people, but there are people that actually do believe in this. T stands for temperance, and temperance is simply another word for balance. And what that means for me is I do not drink alcohol. I do not have tea or coffee. And I do not have carbonated beverages. I literally watch what I consume. Once again, it's like the food. Will it heal me or harm me? What will it do to my skin? What will it do to my organs? So, this is a dedicated thing that I've chosen for myself that has enabled me to have this kind of skin at my age. It does work, people. It really does. It's not for everybody. I get that people have their habits and their lifestyles and they drink this for whatever reasons, enjoyment or, kill insomnia, whatever it is. But for me, when it comes to beauty and fashion and leading the conversation with having longevity, looking good, feeling good, this is what I do. And this is what I actually promote. If I get asked, I always am honest enough to actually share that. So temperance is really, really big for me.
Mm,
And it can, temperance, is really just a way of creating balance. You can still do the 80-20 rule, but remember, what you put in, you get out. So if you're going to go all in, you will get the result of a person that went all in. If you're going to go in half, you'll get some benefit. If you don't go in at all, you cannot expect to have that quality of life. Now, I'm going to keep saying quality of life. Why? Because it's inevitable. We are all going to age. But wouldn't you want to age with grace and energy? Absolutely,
yes.
right?
Yes,
Yes,
because
yes, yes,
everything
yes.
comes back to energy. Energy is
Well,
everything.
I love to work with, coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, people that need to be seen because this is so important for them. Now, as women head into that traditionally the invisible age, they have to work harder to become visible. And so if they keep on this routine, they will be able to walk on that stage or show up on camera and capture their audience. Why? Because, we are so our whole society, it's all about youthfulness, and we can capture that youthfulness. I'm all about reverse aging and what does it take to reverse our age. Now, interestingly enough, I really want to stress this, that this whole, and I only got to the letter T, but just those things alone, when I had my visceral fat test, which is the area around your belly that gets checked by a naturopath, if that's what you do, this is really cool. The metabolic age last year was 32. Now, last year I turned 50, so it
Wow.
means it does work. And I've never in my life had a weight issue. I have been the same weight since high school.
Wow, that's amazing.
I've probably got a little bit shorter, but we all kind of we all age. The reality is we do age, right? We do age. I kid you not. But it is about keeping the reins on that, squeezing more out of life and getting more getting more, really getting more, getting excited, that it is possible and it can happen for you too. So wherever you're at, I always tell my clients, wherever you're at, start there because today is the youngest you'll ever be, wherever you are
Mm,
today. And so
mm,
therefore use what you have and implement it. Action is everything. It truly is, right?
mm. Yeah, I love that. I
Let
must say,
me
just
know.
on that, just on
Yeah.
that point, there, I must say I have a bit of a weakness, Kristina, and that is coffee. I do, I grew up on Turkish coffee, and we don't muck around, right? This is strong black coffee, and I have heard that some black coffee is okay for you, not the instant crap, right? Because a lot of that has got pesticides in it, but the plunger and the proper coffee, apparently a bit of that is good. Just like chocolate, dark chocolate, some dark chocolate apparently is good for you. This is what I tell myself anyway. I justify having coffee and chocolate occasionally.
I'm not holding anything back. I am not holding any. You know what? At this age, at 50, I'm going to hold nothing back. And I'm going to be telling you a real truth here. They lied to us about eggs. They lied to us about butter. They lied to us about cigarettes. They lied to us about everything. Let me tell you, as much as they like to find the whatever it is that they find about coffee, I stand today and tell you it's not true. Coffee is a drug and it does do damage. It sucks the
Right.
hydration out of your system.
Oh,
You know, You will survive without your cup of coffee. There is power to be able to get up in the morning, to have put all of these regimes into place, to be able to get up, jump on your feet and going, I'm feeling alive today, and not needing, oh, I need that cup of coffee. Now, how do I know this? I used to be a chocoholic, a coffeeaholic, whatever you want to tell me. I've
Right.
done it. I've been there. I've lived through the 80s. I've had a cigarette. Like, I've done it all. I have done it all. But I realized
Yeah.
very quickly, if I was ever going to get to a ripe old age, those things were not going to cut it. And hallelujah, they actually said, you can't smoke in public areas. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I thought,
Mm.
just the boundaries I needed. So I
Yes.
took it really, really seriously, probably from about the age of, I think, 23, I would say, from about
Okay.
23. Everything, it was like, no more social drinking, no more social smoking, no more social
Mm.
coffee. It was get serious, because if you're going to make it, and honestly, when you're 23, 40 and 50
Mm.
seems a heck of a long way away. But I had a
Mm.
very strong vision. I'm a very determined person, and I knew that, it was coming. And if I didn't make the changes, I was going to be just like anyone else that suffered when they got older. And I said no, because fashion has always been it's in my blood. I just love it. I love to create change. I love to make people happy. I love the transformation. I love the makeovers. I always have been on a mission to empower women. And I knew that if I didn't look after myself, it didn't matter what clothing I wore, it was not going to match that message of what I had done to my body and to my face. And
Mm.
coincidentally, and to your hair. When you lose moisture, you lose it everywhere. So be careful
Yes.
what you ingest. And I say ingest because everything, food, drink, whatever. I'm
Yes.
really, really big on that. So take your health seriously. And
Yes.
it wasn't so long ago, I really had to think very, very clearly why health became such a big thing for me to talk to my clients. I grew up with a mother who became unhealthy from a very young age, and just handed herself over to the pharmaceutical industry, just like a lot of people, and fell into depression, and there was no way out. And I saw what it had done to her body and to her mind and to her soul. And I said, there's got to be a better way. And so, for me, health has been everything. And I remember her turning to me one day and saying, Kristina, health is your best wealth. Focus on that and the rest will work out. And so, if you're chasing money, if you're chasing money, your health is going to go down at some point in your life. You've got to put health first. Everything must be
Mm.
in order. Everything has to be. Because if you
Mm.
lose your health, you can't do anything else. So for
Yes.
me, it's about, if you love what you do and you're passionate about what you do, money it's a divine compensation for the work that you put out there. It will come. But if you don't put you first, nothing will work. And if you have one of those genes where you just keep going and going and going like an ever ready battery, I kid you not, you will, at some stage, if you don't put your health first, something will break. It just has to. The body is a machine. You keep putting in the wrong oil and the wrong fuel, it will break down. So I hope
Yes.
that
Yes.
message is really, really clear.
That's very clear. And I still like
Mhm.
coffee, although I do get what you're saying. And I have actually gone a whole week without coffee. I went to a women's retreat. I went a whole week without coffee. I was so impressed, although I did get the coffee migraine. And that's proof that you are addicted when you get the coffee. If you don't have coffee, if you have coffee every day and then you don't have it for a day, it's amazing. This migraine kicks in and it's a coffee migraine. So that's how I know I'm definitely addicted to coffee. However, I can go without it as well, although right now I'm choosing to do it because I like it. And so that's
Yeah.
the 80-20, the 80-20 rule, I guess, coming back to that. But just on that point, that's a really good point about your health and wealth, that your health is your wealth. And there's a great saying around that. And they say that, a lot of people spend their health to get their wealth, and then they spend their wealth to get their health. right? Although by then it could be too late, right? Because a third of people die by the age of 65, right? So, and that's not that long. That goes pretty quick. Life just flies by. If you think about eternity and think of our lives, you blink and you miss it sometimes, So really, we think we have a lot of time. However, that's not necessarily the case. So I really want to come back to your formula. I really love that. You got up to the T of your formulas. So for those who've just joined us, what is your acronym again, and where are we up to?
So it is actually, the word is New Start,
New Start.
NEWSTART, New Start. So
Yes.
each of those letters stands for something. Now we're up to
Yes.
the letter A. A is for air, fresh air. If you are stuck in an office behind your computer, working away, you don't even realize how much fresh air did you have today. And when I say fresh air, let's go into, did you actually do some deep breathing? Now, do you want to be deep breathing in a toxic environment or aircon or a bullet? No, you want to go
No.
to a place where there are trees, where there is a forest, where there is, a park, somewhere there is foliage, where you can actually do some really deep breathing and breathe in that nature, clear the mind, open up that lung capacity. I mean, fresh air is so, so pivotal. You've got a headache, deep breathing, you'd be surprised how your mind and all of those things that are clogging it, the headache, it just starts to dissipate. So I'm a really firm believer that if I couple my exercise and my fresh air, now a lot of these things you can do together. They're not like little individual things. They
Mm.
are, but you can put them all together. So when I'm doing my deep breathing, I'll do a little bit of yoga, then I might go for a run, then I'll go for a push bike ride. I'm in the outdoors. So the message is spend time outdoors. If you're a
Yeah.
gamer, for you in particular, or you're a social media person or whatever it is, like if you just don't get outdoors enough, get outdoors. Because fresh
Yes.
air will actually, totally change and clear that mind. If you've got mind clutter, fresh air, get out there.
Mm.
That's what I've got to
Mm.
say. So that's the A. Um, my goodness me, what are we up to? R. Oh, this
Yes.
is a big one. If you want to reverse aging, this is huge. You've got to get sleep, and you've got to get it before midnight. The magical time is between 10 and 2. That's that hormone growth period. You want to be asleep by 10. That means by 9, you're starting to shut things down. Actually, even earlier if you can, but by 9, it's like the lights go low, because if you're stuck in an area where the lights are so high, the body doesn't naturally want to, switch off, wind down. Remember, if you think about back in the cave days, they went to bed when the sun went down and they rose when the sun came up. Like go
Yes.
back to the primitive ways. Like if we simplify our life, we will literally start to have this incredible energy and benefit. So, by 9 p.m., you're switching down devices, you're switching down artificial lights, you might put some candles on. If you've got like a diffuser, I've got my Young Living essential oils, you start to put those in, you start to change that mood. You might run a bath, whatever it is. This is literally self-care. If you don't put
Mm.
that time in, how will you unwind and get to sleep? And here's the thing, staying asleep, you're not being woken up. So temperature, what is the temperature like? Do you have the right bedding? Do you have the right bedclothes on? It's a whole strategy of putting yourself to rest. So it's not just, oh, I better just go and catch a quick, nap, or, oh, I'll be fine on 4 hours. No, you must put in that time, because this is where you literally recharge. If you want that engine to purr like amazing, you've got to get that rest. Now, I know, Aldwyn, you're a bit of a night owl. And it's
Yes.
easy to be a night owl. I remember, like, if any of my kids are on camp and things like that, or there's a little bit of structure that's changed in the home, it's like, yippee, I'll go and, do a few things, outside of that normal routine, but I pay for it. Everything starts to become out of whack. So I realized, set firm boundaries. This is me time. My body needs rest. If I want to look good and feel good, have energy, have that spirit come alive in me every single day, the body
Mm.
needs rest.
Mm.
So
And that, yeah, that's a really good point, because you also want to be careful who you have in your bed with you. So, being single is great because, I have uninterrupted sleep usually. Whereas if I have a lover or a partner in bed, sometimes they want to wake me up 3 times in the middle of the night. And so that becomes very unsettling. These
yes.
highly sexed men, sometimes it's really difficult to get a good night's sleep. And so, so I think it's much better for me right now to be single so I can sleep a lot better.
Yes, I do. I actually do have friends when they meet new lovers and things like that. That becomes a real issue. But I always say to them, "You are not 20 anymore. The older you get, you have to have much firmer boundaries. Why? Because you're not going to feel and look good the next day. Men are attracted
Yes,
to youthfulness and energy.
yes,
And I mean, sorry to say, men do run off with younger women, and it's been a real issue in our society for a very long time. But we can claim our power back. As we
mm,
grow older, we can still have that youth, and it takes strategy. All you have to do is focus on your health. You can become an irresistible, magnified, magnetic woman well and truly into your older years. Why? Because you have wisdom and beauty, put them together, and you're one power force. Seriously. The
true.
young girls are still learning the ropes. And while they do have their youth and everything's plumped and
Yeah,
up, they are a no match for a woman that has vision, strength, integrity, has learnt some lessons, and she's a powerhouse.
absolutely.
you
And
know?
it's amazing how many younger men love the older women. Like literally in their 20s, their 30s. I mean, not that they last very long with anything. However, it's interesting in the bedroom. They're generally not that great. However, they love the older women. So it's a really interesting thing that older guys go for the younger women, the younger guys go for the older women. It's a really interesting thing that happens. And no matter what age you are, I think it's about the person. I say, souls are ageless. It's not about the actual number of years, it's how you are, it's how you live those years. And you have 60-year-olds going on 20 and 20-year-olds going on 60, depending on how they look after each other too. So it's a really interesting thing. So this whole youthful thing, you can be 70 and be youthful, in your energy, in how you do life. It's phenomenal how some people in their golden years are more energetic than, say, some people in their 20s who eat a lot of Hungry Jacks. So
Well, I want to encourage all women. Don't be youthful for them, him, anyone else. You are doing this for you. You
yes,
have firm boundaries for you. No one else will do it for you. No one else is going to literally care. The only one that really should care is you. So do it for you. Show yourself some love. If you haven't shown it before, learn these things. Connect with people who want to see you grow. If you are in an environment where they're tearing you down, maybe you're born with looks, maybe you don't have the conventional beauty, whatever it is, I'm a firm believer that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I personally believe, I've worked with hundreds of women. Honestly, we are all beautiful. I can make up any woman in any way, dress her. I work with anyone and everyone. Everyone can achieve this, but it starts with health. Health is your most important thing. If you have vitality, the rest is just cosmetic. A dash of makeup here, an outfit there, but your youthfulness, the body inside that clothing, that's where the focus for me has gone in the last, I would say, in the last 15 years, even more so. I got to a point where it wasn't enough to just dress the woman. It wasn't enough to make her feel and look beautiful on the outside. I had to start the conversation about this New Start acronym. This has really been a big labor of love for me to get that out there. Now, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't, claim to be all of that. I simply walk the walk, and I will start the conversation. So if you have a health issue, you go and you see a professional. But I start the conversation to encourage you, take this seriously, because one day when it's taken away from you, you're going to have to heal, and maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have to live with this, and maybe you might even die. And that's a reality if you do not take your health seriously. So I really, really, really want to encourage all women and men. I shouldn't leave the men out because I predominantly work with women, but this is for any human on earth. Take your health
yes,
seriously. It was given to you freely by your divine source, the one that created you as the divine design. Use your body wisely. In your youth, use it wisely so that it can serve you well over the decades. So I really want to
Mm.
encourage people to focus so much on that
Mm.
internal transformation.
So important.
Yeah.
We are talking about being seen, heard, and amplifying your brand. So to be seen confidently, it's important to be healthy. And what's the T of the new start, the
Now,
final
the
T?
T. It's funny because it's last, but I actually use it first. The T is that all these things are possible when I put my trust in my higher power. Whatever it is for you, the divine, God, the universe, whatever, connect to something outside of yourself that is greater than you. You are not God. I just want to put it out there. You are not God. You were created. I am a creationist. Openly, I will claim this. I know that there are evolutionists out there. I do not judge anybody. But for me, my spiritual journey is such that I connect to a higher power. It is my source of well-being. It's my source of knowledge. It's my source of truth. It's my source of health. It's my source of living. That is my first and foremost connection to anything and everything. I don't like to preach religion. I am not a believer in religion. I'm a believer in the spiritual journey. And that when I connect
Mm.
with my higher power, I gain a relationship with the source. Relationship is
Yes.
everything. So that I'm not just, praying to an idol or praying to, something that can't hear me. I believe I serve a living God, a living
Mm.
entity, a divine presence. So when I'm working with clientele, I never work alone. I always ask the divine, what is it that I need to do today? Who shall I serve? Many times I have called people up and they've said to me, I was praying for someone to call me today, whether they were depressed, and you know who you are if you're watching this today, just this week alone, feeling suicidal. And they just came into my mind, and I thought, I'm going to call them right now. It's literally stopping in your day and thinking about more than just your work, more than just yourself, more than just anything else. But there are people out there that need your presence, your voice, your energy that may not have all
Mm.
of those things. So I picked up that phone, I gave that person a call, just a short, quick chit chat. Hey, I'm thinking about you. And you just never know. Now, this doesn't happen by chance. I do not believe in coincidence. I believe in God incidence. And that is, I am
Nice.
where I'm meant to be at any particular time for a divine appointment. Now, it wasn't always like this because when you're young and silly and stupid and it's all about me, it's all about me, right? You
Yes.
don't hear that still small voice. You just don't. But as you get older and you realize, especially the tragedies in your life, and sometimes, many times I've been in situations I should be dead. And I'm thinking, I've lived another day. I survived that incident. I've survived this. What am I here to do? You start to ask the bigger questions. I am more than just my work. I am more than just my chosen profession. I am more. So what is it that I'm here to do? Now, at the moment, what I do is wrapped around in my, my expertise. So I'm offering that to the people that need that. But it doesn't stop the conversation because when they encounter the person that is connected to source, they will encounter more than just their profession and expertise. If you're truly
Mm.
connected to source, you will bring that to the forefront in any conversation. Cleverly.
Mm.
When I say cleverly, you don't want to put anybody off because at the end of the day, you don't know their journey. You don't know who they were, what they've done, how they feel about the divine. Maybe they've been angry with God for taking away a loved one. Whatever it is, you tread gently, but you always come forward in your truth. And that comes with connection. So that is the last part, trust in a higher power. So there
Mm.
you
I
have
love
it.
that.
There is
Oh, I
the
love
new
that.
start that I live by every single day.
I love that. And so for those who missed some of those early ones, can we just have just the words that represent just the acronym? Just if you could just repeat just the words.
Yes. So there's nutrition, exercise, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in a higher power. New start. So every
Love it.
day can become a new start to your life.
Ah, love it,
Any
love it,
day,
love it.
every day.
Yay, that is brilliant, Kristina. And, I was reading some of your story. You gave me a little sneak peek of a chapter that you're doing coming up called Out of Hiding. A chapter, actually, if you could explain a bit about the book and what's happening with that. And then I'd love to actually hear some of your background, how you came out of a history of abuse and how you came to doing what you're doing today.
Oh wow. Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? It's taken a really long time to speak out. It's taken a long time because as I've said, I've already touched on this. I used fashion very cleverly in my teenage years to
Mm,
hide because that is a time where you're really self-conscious. You think everyone sees you, you're conscious about your hair, you're conscious about your skin, you're conscious about what you wear, you're
yes.
conscious about everything, right? And so I thought,
Yeah.
I'm really good with this fashion thing. I'm going to use this to my advantage. So I would make these incredible outfits that would draw the attention, but would detract from that inside. So it was really interesting. Yes, trauma in our lives plays a really pivotal thing when it comes to who we are today. And instead of becoming a victim to what had happened to me, I used it to as a stepping stone. I love that analogy when they said when somebody digs a hole so that you can fall in it and lose yourself or bury yourself or die in that hole. Every time they shovel more dirt in there, you use it to step up. They shovel some more dirt, you step up,
Ah,
and eventually you get yourself out of that hole.
I like
That's
it.
how I feel. Yes, because
Mm,
we were migrants. It was like 1970, right? 1970. We're already given away at my age. I'm 51. So 1970, we've come to this country. My parents are young. They're 20 years old. What do they know? Nothing. They didn't speak the language. It was a time where Australia wanted, a bigger population. It's like, come on over and have a new life, new opportunities. And my dad, being an adventurer and a creative, said yes, and he came. But little did we realize that in that community that we became so connected to, which was the Croatian community, that there would be a lurking pedophile in there. And and my parents had three children, and they were overwhelmed. They didn't have family. Their family was still in Croatia. They were overwhelmed. And this couple decided that they would take us under their wing, 15 years, my parents senior, and that was a big gap. And my mother would often, being a fashion person, would always make sure that I looked cute and pretty, like the Shirley Temple. and
mm,
uh, and little did I realize that all that beautiful grooming would actually attract a different type of grooming. So it attracted this, and so they would say, "Oh, you've got too much on your hands. Let's just take this child off your hands, on weekends, and we'll look after her." I'm 5 years old, so I go over there and I start spending weekends. Well, one thing would lead to another, and I am getting groomed. And this grooming by this pedophile lasted for a decade. Now, people say, hey, that's silly. You know what? Let me tell you, grooming is so gradual. The way these people work is they build your trust, or they shower you with gifts and praise and money and all sorts of stuff. It is a very slow building. So the victim doesn't even know. It's like the frog in the hot water, sorry, the cold water, and someone's turning on
mm,
that tap. You don't even know that the temperature is
yeah.
getting hotter and
Mm,
things are happening. Remember, I'm 5 years old. I have no idea about anything about those things. I'm just
yeah.
being groomed and going with the flow, still a bit quizzical. But
Mm,
but this was a time in history where we didn't have a voice. And if you're a woman and you were speaking out, especially in a close knit community, you were shunned. You were told to basically shut up and do not create scandal. And how dare you ruin the reputation of that person? And so, didn't I didn't have the ability to speak. And there was so much going on in my home, there was so much, physical and mental and emotional violence happening. So I ended up having a stuttering issue. I thought, well, if I can't be heard, I may as well stop speaking. And this was so bad. It was so bad that I couldn't even string, two words together. The S and the F and the T, there were certain letters of the alphabet that were so hard. So to get over them, I'd make sure my voice went really quiet and then I'd go back up again. it was really, really hard. And by the time I got to my teen years, I was like this stuttering fool. It was just so, so hard to navigate life. Once again,
Mm.
fell into fashion, used that as a, look at me, but don't talk to me kind of a thing,
Mm.
Um, and it's really interesting that only just a couple of years ago, I was asked to be the host of CHTV, and I got to speak on camera and, host this. So from someone that was a stuttering fool all the way to be able to speak eloquently, it is a miracle. It is honestly
Mm.
a miracle. And so, I got to this point in my life where I just wanted to share a little snippet of my story to be able to match my brand so that, when people encounter me, it's not just, oh, I'll just make you look great on the outside. There is so much more depth. There is a reason why I am now, using a different model of what I teach, that it isn't just the external beauty, but it's the internal health and well-being and mindset, self-love, self-nurture. It's all of those things that create that signature brand. And so,
Mm.
but it took coming out and sharing that story and shedding and becoming vocal about what happened to me. Why did this happen to me? And now to live as a person that can empower others, that you do not have to fall a victim to depression just because you went through something. You can rise. You can rise and overcome. And you know what? Proximity is power. You have to get close to a community that believes you, understands you, lets you speak, lets you share, and supports you and doesn't shame you. Shame is the greatest thing that really, disenables human growth. That's what I believe. Because those experiences, when you go through those experiences, you're shamed. And I can tell you today, I do not see a lot of people being raised with resilience. And there are so many people taking their lives because of the lack of resilience. I really, really, really want to teach this because I have survived so much tragedy in my life. And I honestly believe that the greatest vehicle for this was resilience, learning to overcome, looking back, taking a stock of the situation. And there are so many that do not have this. And sadly, they leave this world without hope. And this is my mantra. This is what I always say. Where there is life, there is hope. If you are alive today, you need to connect to some source that's going to help you. There is always someone that can help you. Life should never, ever, ever be taken so lightly that it can just be done away with so easily. And it comes back to what I was saying before. When you're connected to source, you would never, ever think about the loss of life because you owe it to the divine source to make something of your life. This is your opportunity, your purpose in life, the reason why you're here. You're here for a reason. And so when I
Mm.
see someone falling a victim to depression, thinking about taking their life, that is a person who has literally lost hope or doesn't have hope, wasn't given hope, doesn't understand hope. Hope is the divine source. That's where hope comes from, you see? And so
Mm.
they need to hear that message of hope. They need it. But who's giving it? Who is teaching this? Are we so busy chasing money and all of these things that we've stopped, that haven't stopped to consider that there are people that need us? This is why in that just this week, when I got this download and the voice said, call that person. I stopped what I was doing. I made that phone call. Did I know that person was suicidal? Heck no. But because I was willing to listen, they shared I was feeling down. And I'm so glad. When he finished that conversation, they said, I feel so relieved. I feel relieved. I can get on with my day. Thinking, really? I had the power to do that? No, it was the divine essence coming through that gave that human being the ability to go, I can get through another day. So if you're so busy that you cannot take the time to listen to a spiritual download, and honestly, those downloads, they don't come loud. They come in the quietness. So find nature, go in that fresh air, whatever it is, do the deep breathing. When you're out there doing your health practice, listen for that still small voice because you will hear things that will help you to help someone else because that's what it's about. That's
Mm.
what it's really about.
Yeah, I love
And I
that.
know that.
So close to my heart as well. You know, combating
Yes,
depression and suicide rates. I've had
yes,
depression. I've had 4 friends take their own lives by the age of 45, and the stats are about 1 million people a year worldwide take their own lives, and that's gone up during COVID. And about 1 in 5 people just in Australia alone have depression. So this is a serious thing. Or they have, anxiety, which can lead to depression. And for years, my dad said to me, anger is danger. So I internalized my anger for years, and that led to depression too. And the thing to get is, if you do feel like that, realize that you're not alone, that it can happen at any moment. However, as you say, Kristina, there is hope. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a breakthrough at the end of every breakdown. And I do believe we're here for a reason. We are 1 in 1 billion just by being born. You beat about 1 billion other swimmers to get to the finish line, right? So you are here for a reason. And I think when people find their purpose and their passion and they do more of that, they're going to have a better experience of life. They're going to love their life more if they're doing what they love. If people do things they don't enjoy, or they're living the kind of life that someone else wants them to live, as we know, the number one regret people have when they die is not living a life true to themselves, right? So in those quiet moments, as you say, Kristina, those quiet moments is listening, tuning in to those signs. And I often get, this morning I was walking on the beach, I thought of a friend and I messaged them straight after and I said, are you okay? I just thought about you, listening to those promptings, that, just reaching out to someone saying, are you okay? Like, are you okay day, right? Great initiative. Reaching out to people. And also, I think personal development is really important, Kristina. I know that's something you've done a lot of as well. So how important is personal development? You mentioned your proximity is power. How important is actually working on your mind as well?
Well, let me say, for the person that thinks when they get to a ripe old age that they've arrived, they've missed the boat. As long as you're alive, you are constantly working it out. Personal development is a tool to help you work it out faster. So when you tap into a community or a body of learning, whatever it is that you tap into to learn, you're literally just saying to the universe, I've come this far, I need to go further. Help me to use the things from my past that will enhance my future, my now and my future. And personal development is just a tool to be able to do that. When I do personal development, I'm always working through the issues of the past, the things that have caused the greatest amount of grief, shame, loss, whatever it is that I have to work through. I work through those things and then I evolve to the next level in my humanity as a better version of me. It's like a 2.0, 3.0. So consider every decade. So now I'm at 5.0, right? So every
Yes.
decade I'm the next version. Now, why do I say every decade? It's you can do this daily, but when I look back, I see a pattern that who I was in that decade, I kind of stayed like that. I kind of worked through my 20s and I lived through my 20s and I had that flavor of living, right? Then I
Yes.
evolved and I was somebody else in my 30s. And isn't it funny? You get to your 30s and going, I have arrived. I know everything. It's like, oh, heck. And when I got to my 40s, I'm thinking, oh, this is power. I have arrived. I'm thinking, no, no, no. Now I got to my 50s and go, no, there is still more to learn. See, wisdom starts to kick in. So, but when you use personal development, it is like this tool. It's like these guards, on either side of you, and they give you boundaries, they give you parameters, they help you ask those poignant questions so that you can, go to the next level. Everything is about going to the next level. If you become stagnant, this is where depression loves to take us over. Now, I want to go back to what we were talking about, suicide, because I have had a sibling very close to twice attempting. And I remember the nurse saying to me, if you're ever around this or you witness this, the chances of you considering it are really high. Now, think about this. There are so many more people doing it today. That means somebody knows someone who is either doing it, has done it, or is in their community. This is huge. Now, you might not think that it actually affects you, but it does. Subconsciously, you are affected. Now, I was just on the weekend, I was helping a friend who was extremely, overburdened. I was helping her with her exit clean from wherever she was living, and we're busily, doing boxes, and we get that phone call, and that was her daughter's her daughter's fiance's father figure in his life, it's the only one that he's had, took his life at 48. Do you know our
Wow.
whole world changed in a day? This was just last Sunday. Our whole world, I couldn't eat, I couldn't function. I was so affected. Now, within 24 hours, I went on my day and I, tended to my duties and my kids. But I can tell you, that hit to that body, to the brain, to that knowledge, it goes into us. We
Mm.
feel that.
Yeah.
So don't be fooled that you are immune. Anyone can consider this. So what I always like to work with, prevention is better than cure. Equip yourself with personal development or whatever it is that you do, your spiritual connections, and get onto this, because your mental health is so important. Now, I talked a lot about your physical health, but I mustn't forget about mental health. Mental health is just as important as the physical health.
Yes.
Anything that we witness in life, it is a hit to our brains and to our bodies. We may not feel it instantly, but it's there. It goes into the subconscious brain and it sits there. And one day, if you're feeling in a low place, you may find yourself considering the unthinkable. Why? Because it came across your vortex, it came into your world, and you are starting to think about this. You are not immune. You must start focusing on prevention with your mental health, just like you have to think about your physical health. The two go hand in hand, because
Mm.
psychologically, you've got to focus on that brain. You've got to focus on this. This is so
Yeah.
important. So I just wanted to drive that home, that mental health, just in case there are some viewers that are thinking, what about mental health? It is just as important, and it has to
Absolutely.
always be part of the conversation. And
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
I it, as much as I love fashion and beauty and all that kind of stuff, there is so much more depth in to me, because like as I said, my parents were migrants, and we came to this country with nothing. And I have watched my parents struggle. I've watched them make some bad choices, and I have watched my 17-year-old brother lose his life, simply because people don't pay attention. They don't pay attention.
Mm.
And and the best thing that we can do to the people around us is pay attention, slow down, and focus. Who needs me today? And it isn't just the client that is going to hand that money over so that you can get richer. It isn't about money. If you've gone through life thinking that you need to build your wealth, what are you going to do? Sit in a castle with all that money while the people down there are suffering? If that is what your humanity has come to, you need to think again. I'm going to say that really boldly. And I do not care anymore
Mm.
what people think, because at this age, when you get to your fifth decade, if you cannot speak your truth and change someone's life, what else is there? We have to get really, really, really clear that there are people that need us, and we can do. If you are fit and healthy and your mindset is intact, you are a useful human being, and you better use it for the betterment of humanity, because you are here to serve a purpose, and it is more than just building wealth. That's what I got to say.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's no greater purpose than being of service. And really,
No.
money is just a tool. And money,
Yes.
money is a sign often that you are being of service. But for
Yes.
money to be the motivator is not the thing, right?
No.
Money is just a sign that you have been of service, usually, except for those that, con people. Of course, there's a lot of con artists out there that are doing things for money that aren't being integral. And the thing is that the truth always comes out in the end. So you need to be true to yourself, treat others as you want to be treated, and bring that integrity to all aspects of your life, okay? Because the fact is that you may think you can get away with something if you're out conning someone or something like that, right? However, the fact is that there is a law of karma out there, and what you give out will come back tenfold. So it's very important to do the right thing by others and treat others as you would love to be treated yourself, right? So really, really important point.
Absolutely.
But particularly for those in business, just focus on that dollar and the KPIs and all the figures, right? All the numbers, right? The numbers in business. Some people are just infatuated with numbers, and they forget about the humanity of the people they're serving. And as you said, pay attention to what is going on around you. You can impact people's life. In fact, you do impact people's life every single day, whether you realize it or not. You are impacting people's life. So are you going to be bringing the energy up with those around you, or are you going to be tearing those down around you, and often hurt people, right? So those that are doing the
Absolutely.
tearing down are those that are hurting. So what I suggest is you just send them off with love and compassion. I've got my love heart here. Send them off with love and compassion. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to hang out with those people, and sometimes they're family, some of these people, right? So you may just want to have straight conversations with some of these people in your life, and set some boundaries for yourself. Set some boundaries. Otherwise, people treat you as you allow them to treat you.
I
So
love that word. I love that word compassion because, as much as we say, don't be like such and such, the whole point is that those people that are chasing those things, the materialist or whatever it is in life, they need compassion because they only became the way they became because of what happened to them. We make
yes,
choices in life. Everyone has a drug of choice, whether it be a workaholic, a alcoholic, a drugaholic, whatever it is, right? We have to have compassion for everybody. All I'm
yes,
doing here right now is just waking you up. If that is what you're doing, it's not a matter of just, stop chasing that dollar. Is ask yourself, stop and think, why am I doing what I'm doing and why is it important to me? What am I hiding from? What is
mm,
it that I don't want to face? It comes back to personal development, it comes back to the psychology, your mental health. It comes back to all of this. It comes back to you as a person. And what I love is waking people up, asking those questions, and it's not a bad thing, making money is not a bad thing, but in perspective, if you are looking down on someone or not helping someone or not being available, then what are you really doing with your humanity? Because creating wealth without that community service, what is it for?
mm,
And so, we must have compassion for people that have chosen those things. I've been there. I've been that workaholic. When I watched my mother addicted to pharmaceutical drugs, I said to myself, I never, ever, ever want to be out of control. But a child that's been raised with abuse has been abused. We always choose something to survive. So I love how some of the members of my family said, "We always thought you flew under the radar and escaped." No, I never escaped. I just chose workaholism. Work so hard that I don't have to think about those things. Somebody else might come home and crack open the bottle of wine and drown their sorrows that way. They don't have to think about anything, put themselves to bed, do it again the next day, right? We all have some choice. We have some drug of choice. So there is no judgment, but we all choose something to survive. Because let's face it, we've all been abused in some way in life. And funnily enough, I've had all five. So there's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial. We can be abused on any of those levels. Nobody gets out of doing life unscathed with any of those things. You will experience this. The
mm,
longer you live, the more you will have happen to you. So we must
absolutely.
show compassion to everybody, wherever they're at. So
Yes.
there's no judgment. Just want to make that clear. No judgment. It's simply like wake up, start asking the questions, start thinking about the bigger picture and having purpose. Because when you have purpose, you don't want to be thinking about, that your life is not worth living, because your life is always worth living. There is always someone that will be less in a lesser place than you. It doesn't matter how low you get and how woeful you're thinking about life and that dreary moment in that space. If you suddenly stop and think about someone else and shift that mindset, you will stop thinking about what you want to do to yourself and what you can do for others. It literally creates that paradigm shift. Just taking that focus off yourself, because it goes so deep. Once you go down that rabbit hole of thinking about self-harm, it just doesn't stop. It really doesn't stop.
Mm,
And it goes deep and deep and deep until the deed is done. So if you can assist and help someone shift their mindset or help them to see something else, get them to that place, and really it's really about being so aware, of what's going on with my friends, in my community, in my family. Be aware, be present when they're speaking to you. Look for the clues. And I can tell you something, the more personal development you do, the easier it is to pick up on these things. I've literally, when I got to about my I would say around 25 or so, I said to myself, it is no longer good enough to say, this happened and this is my lot. I said, I am going to research and study and read. Back in those days, you know, we didn't have computers as such, or smartphones. You'd go to the library or to a bookshop, whatever it is, and I would buy hundreds of dollars worth of books to learn what happened to me. And I quickly learned that blame serves nothing. You know, when you go down that road of blame, all you're doing is you're just putting on hold your healing. So I knew blame, I couldn't do that. I literally had to find the answers. So the more I started to learn, the more I could help myself. But here's the beautiful thing. Whenever I've had clients come to me with their woes, I've been able to help them, because when I hear their stories, there's a commonality with us humans, our woes. There's so much similarity. And with all of that knowledge and experience, I've been able to help them and get present with them and show them something so that they can go off and do their own research and study and start asking the bigger questions and waking them up. It's about waking up, really, waking up
Mm.
and starting to really see, um, what's it all about? What's it all about?
Yes, yes. And realizing too that you are the only one of you, right? And so don't compare yourself to others. A lot of people do this, and it stops them from being seen and being heard and from amplifying themselves, because they think, who am I to speak up? And that person's better than me. Or the fact is, 10% more than someone else, you can teach it. Okay, you have a message to share, you can always share your truth. No one else has your story. Your X factor is your story. So there's always something that you can share and help people with. And it's a matter of recognizing that, getting conscious to that, so that you can step up in that way. It's
Oh,
amazing how
yes,
much
I'm a
we,
firm believer. I'm a firm
yeah,
believer that when you stick in your lane, you
yes,
have no competition. When you start
yes,
looking over there or over there, can you see how your mood starts to drop? Oh, I don't have her thing. I don't have this. And then you look at yourself and you go, oh, I hate this and I hate that. And you're telling your own body what you hate and what you don't like.
yes,
So now you're
yes,
starting to hate on yourself. You're getting jealous of them, hating on yourself. I mean, where are you going to get to with that mindset? So
yes,
when you put those blinders on, right? When a horse puts those blinders on and he's gone for that track, can he see himself? No. He's got the track in front of him and he's going for it, right?
mm-hmm. That's
And so what
right.
I'm saying is, don't look at anyone else, because no one has your story. No one has anything
Yes,
about you. You are so unique. And my job
yes,
is to help you play up that uniqueness. That's where I use my well-skilled and crafted, fashion and personal branding knowledge. And I come in like a fairy queen and just polish it all up. So
awesome,
that
awesome.
all
You
that
come
kind
in
of
with
stuff.
your magic wand, and whip up some magic.
Yes, but
Awesome.
you come with the essence, you come with the goods, you come as that beautiful canvas that an expert like myself can go, hey, what can I do with this? And so when you come, focused on your health and your mindset, it just makes the job a lot easier. Why? It's because when you stand up to be seen and heard, people notice. um, they notice everything about you. If you haven't been living well, we can physically see it. You've got a few extra pounds. We know what you've been doing. If your skin is dehydrated, we can see you need hydration. So everything is visible, particularly on camera. Maybe you can get away with it on the live virtual stage because you're so far away. But on camera, let's face it, it's the 21st century. We do camera, we do Zoom, we do lives.
Yes,
We are so much more visible. Our face is like really visible to the world. Now, the
yes,
face is a reflection on how you live, what you've invested in. You can always tell a woman, and this is really sad. It's actually I just thought about a lady. It just came into my mind. You can always tell a woman who's had a hard life, who is not focused on herself, has literally given up, because these lines on her face and down through here, they are so embedded south, because she's either been cranky, grumpy, angry, all of those things, that she hasn't laughed enough. She hasn't stopped to focus on herself. And after a certain time, it becomes permanent. You see these people around you, probably notice them more now that I've pointed it out. You can see the way people have lived, it's etched in their faces. Now, if you've got a product or a service and you're selling something, people are attracted to youthfulness and healthy and smiling and energy and, joyfulness. They're attracted to this. You can only paint so much on the outside. You can only dress the body and camouflage things so much, but you cannot ever engineer like this out of the blue, just like that. And that energy, wellness, mindset, the skin glowing, that is a lifestyle choice. And this is why that New Start acronym is so important, because when you start focusing on how you live, when you show up, it shows. It really shows. And when you're a picture of health and wellness and vitality and wisdom and joyfulness, people want to get close to the source. They want that. They need that, especially if they're down or they're feeling, totally at a loss. Wherever they're at in life, you can be that beacon of light. You can show them what is possible simply by being, even if you don't speak, simply by being in their presence. Shine, like you will shine. When you live well, you will shine. I guarantee you. So consider that, you may do these things for you, but you're also being a leader for others. Leadership in senior years, because that's what 50 is. Now I'm a senior. Leadership is where it is. Honestly, if you get to this age and you have not worked it out, you're still going to grow. You're still going to go through the motions of that personal development. But if you've come to this age and you're not focused on leadership, you've missed the mark. People need this leadership in your family, in your community, in society, the world. Like it is so needed. We need this. Now, I did mention when I was in the fashion industry, starting out as a young 20-year-old, no one would help you. You were on your own. You were literally just treated like, like you were not worthy of that knowledge. People wouldn't share their beauty, lifestyle. They wouldn't share, how they got to where they, you'd have to buy the gossip magazine, New Idea, Woman's Weekly, whatever it was. You'd have to buy those things to learn it from the stars or the, people in the media. But look at where we are today. You can be your own publicity media magnet, right? You can do this. When you live well, you've got a message. And my big thing at the moment is, if you want to create a movement with your message, you have to amplify your brand. Now, most people think, oh, do I just have to put on that amazing outfit? Heck no. It is the whole of you. It's how you think, how you move, how you do life. It's everything. It's everything. Now, you know what? I never went to university. I never went to uni. Didn't intrigue me. I'm a creative. And so when I talk and speak to clients or people, I just keep things really simple, layman's terms, so the average person can understand. We need rest. We need 8 hours. We need water. Like like anyone can do this. Anyone can get the message out there. Get into nature, breathe deeply, just motivate anyone, anywhere, anytime, wherever you're at. And honestly, we may just bring the rate of suicide down. Wouldn't that be great? Heck yeah.
Absolutely. It's all the ripple effect, and there's so many gems in what you've shared. And there's a great saying too out there. It says people on a mission have no competition. And I love it, staying in your lane. People on a mission have no competition. And I can relate too. I've had spiritual, mental, physical, emotional abuse. I've had all the different abuses. However, like you, we do not live in victim mode. And the below the line, the above the line. Whenever you're in victim mode and you're blaming others and you think that the world's out to get you or whatever, that's when you're disempowered. So to become empowered, you need to take responsibility for yourself, realize that everything happens for you, not to you. And even if you're going through a low moment, it's okay, because you stay on that roller coaster of life, right? There's going to be times you're going to feel low, times you feel high, times you're going to feel like you're going round in circles, times you're going to feel like you're going backwards. It's okay. It's all part of the journey, right? Just stay on that roller coaster of life. Sometimes you do need to slow down to speed up and to listen to your intuition and get out in nature and nurture yourself and love yourself. And, another amazing thing we have in common is that my parents migrated to Australia in 1970 as well, the same year. They came out from Turkey. I also have Greek and Ukrainian blood as well. So we both have European background. And the Europeans particularly have come to Australia, and the Asians and people have come from other places. They've worked their butt off, they've had that sort of that mindset, and that, that they haven't had everything given to them on a platter like a lot of people do in Australia, with Centrelink, with such a generous government. The taxes also reflect the generosity of the government, right? But, people generally from Europe and from other places, they've generally worked their butt off because they've had to survive. They've come from some of these war-torn countries, and, there isn't the same kind of sense of entitlement often that people have in developed countries, right? What we call developed countries. In saying that, we are all one, and we are all on a journey, and and everything brings us to this point. And, I think your story is just extraordinary, Kristina, and I could keep chatting to you. We've already talked for nearly an hour and 20. I could keep chatting to you. I just think you're absolutely amazing. And we do need to wrap up shortly, though, and I know you have to run off as well. So could you tell us a bit about this book launch you have coming up, and how can people get a copy of the book that's coming out?
Yes, the book is called Inspiring Women Today. It's a collaborative work of about 15 authors, and I believe it is titled Volume 1. So it's a collection of true stories, what have actually happened to people. And I guess these authors are using this to be able to speak out and share their stories to brand themselves in a way so that people can get to know them a lot better. And this is what I've done as well. So rather than just being that fashion queen, it's like there's a story behind the story. And so when it comes to personal branding, people need to understand, what did it actually take for me to get to where I am today? So my chapter is titled Out of Hiding. And so, because I believe that a lot of people do hide, and they need to understand that this story is to basically empower and inspire women to step up, to grow, and to change. And as they listen to somebody else's story, maybe they identify with aspects, all of it, some of it, and it will inspire them to grow, as well as all of the other stories. So this collection, these 15 authors being part of this volume 1, it's quite a special thing, because I believe this publisher is going to continue to produce more of these volumes annually. So to be able to have made it into the first volume, and to feel that story was vital enough to sit in there, is quite an honor. So I'm really, really pleased, because it's also an unveiling more into, who is this woman that is helping me shine? Who is this woman that is helping me, amplify my brand? Who is this person? So as they listen to the story, they can see that there is a much deeper person behind the superfluous and that whole facade of fashion, because fashion can be a lot like that, always looking pretty or done for glammed. It can have that element of, not enough depth. And this is why I like to speak out on those subjects, because it's so important. It's much deeper than the way that we dress our bodies. There are stories inside us that needs to come out, that we're more than just our clothes. We're more than just all of those exterior things. So for me, sharing my story was vital in this stage of my life, to be able to pull back some more. It's like the onion, being able to share.
Yeah.
And it's taken a lot. It's taken a lot of bravery and courage. I wasn't prepared to do this. Even 5 years ago, I was thinking, no way, I'm just going to stick to my fashion and just make people look and feel amazing. And I realized that people need to know more. They need to know the person behind the brand. They need to know the story. They need to connect with a real person, not just a service or a business or a product. And so this
Yes.
came to that forefront of, get out there and share your story, and be bold and brave about it, because someone is going to need to hear what you have to say. And
Yeah.
so the links will be available. I believe the launch is on Monday, International Women's Day, March 8. It's all been prepared for that day. So there'll be links. I'll be sharing a lot of stuff in stories on my personal page. If anyone's interested, I'll share the link with you also, Aldwyn, so you can share it to the wider community as well. And the cover is absolutely amazing. I love it. It makes me feel like it's sort of like this global mixture of color of of all women of all races coming to share a story and becoming unified and rising together. So well done to the person that created that most incredible cover, because I'm in love with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen it too. It is amazing. And congratulations on that. That is a great
Thank you.
achievement. And so
Thank you.
keep tabs, anyone watching this. And hello to Ursula and Mulla. Good to see you there. And whoever else is watching this, you're watching the live or the recording of this. Thank you for joining us. And make sure you follow Kristina so that you can get updates on that. And I've got one main final question for you, and that is, if you were to give your younger self one bit of advice, what would that be?
To stop comparing myself to others. That is, if I only knew that, I would be a lot further along. But hey, I do not ever have any regrets, because I am the person I am today because of my past. But if I am encouraging younger women today, that's the first thing I say. You are unique, you're beautiful, you're a divine design, stick in your own lane, you're going places, you're here for a mission, and there is no competition, none whatsoever. The world is your stage. The world is your stage. Go for it.
Yes.
Every life matters.
Yes, and yours matters watching this right now. Your life matters, and there's a reason you're here right now watching this. And everything you do, like the ripple effect, like putting the stone in the water, right? There is a ripple effect with everything you do, and bringing that energy, bringing the best of your energy to everything you do is really what it's all about. If you want to be seen, heard, and amplify your brand, that's what we're talking about today. There's been some absolute gems of wisdom shared today, Kristina. Thank you so much for your time. Any final words you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
Just here to spread the love and have compassion for all humanity, and here to really shine a light and shine it bright and be a beacon of hope and joy to the world. Really, that is my greatest mission, and I'm getting emotional just saying it.
It's beautiful, Kristina. Thank you so much for your time. And if people want to connect with you, which social media channels or website, where can they find you best?
I have a website, so that's www.kristinasavka.com.au. I have my personal page, Kristina Savka, on social media. There's my business page, and I'm very active on stories at the moment, so I get a lot of traffic through there. So just, yes, connect with me anyway. You will definitely find me. I'm out there.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, we've been chatting with Kristina Savka. Thank you so much once again for your time. It's been absolutely amazing. I love it. And I'm sure there's so much more you could share as well. In fact, you've got a whole program around this. So for anyone who's interested in finding out more and working one-on-one with Kristina, then reach out to her. You will find her in all those places. Just Google her name. You'll see her. And if you are ready to be seen, heard, and amplify your brand, then Kristina is your lady. She's extraordinary, and she can help you look like a star, even if you're not feeling like a star, right? She can definitely help you with that. So definitely reach out and connect. Also connect with me. You'll see me if you Google me all over the place as well, all over social media. I have a lot of events that I do, so follow me in Eventbrite. We have the Mass Media Tribe events. I have my free publicity secrets workshops that I do, and ongoing interviews as well. Also Media Queen TV, if you haven't subscribed yet, there's about 600 videos and amazing interviews on there, so make sure you do that if you want to be inspired. And for anyone who is feeling depressed or suicidal, there's an amazing interview that I did on my Media Queen TV channel with a lady called Tracy Corman about how to overcome abuse and depression. And watching that interview could potentially save a life out there, because you're not alone. If you're feeling down, you're not alone. And if there's any calling whatsoever to be seen and to be heard and to amplify your brand, then you're in good hands right here. You know who to reach out to. So please do connect with us, stay connected, and here's to you being the best version of you, to shining bright and lighting up all those around you. And as Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you so much, Kristina. Once again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us on Media Queen TV. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you again soon. Bye for now.